is a recent development of great interest. EM received a call this afternoon from the UAE Foreign Minister on the announcement yesterday of the full normalization of relations between UAE and Israel. India has consistently supported peace, stability and development in West Asia, which is its extended neighborhood. In that context, we welcome the full normalization of ties between UAE and Israel. Both nations are key strategic partners of India. India continues its traditional support for the Palestinian cause. We hope to see early resumption of direct negotiations to find an acceptable two-state solution. My second announcement is again a development of today morning on our humanitarian assistance to Lebanon. In response to the massive explosion in Beirut on 4th August, we had offered our assistance to Lebanon and sought from them an assistance of their requirements. Based on this, today morning an Indian Air Force C-17 aircraft was deployed to deliver 58 metric ton of emergency humanitarian aid on behalf of the Government of India to Lebanon. The aircraft landed in Beirut a few hours back, and the aid has been handed over by our ambassador to senior officials of the Lebanese Armed Forces, which is coordinating all the relief efforts. The aid contains emergency medical supplies, wheat flour, sugar and pulses, and also relief material like blankets, dignity kits and sleeping mats, which are required as large number of people have been rendered homeless. In light of the spike in the COVID-19 cases in Lebanon, Government of India has also separately sent personal protection equipment, including surgical gloves and surgical gowns. The consignment is expected to reach Beirut in the coming days. I also have an update on the Vande Bharat mission. You would recall that earlier this week, on 11th August, we crossed the 1 million mark under the Vande Bharat mission. As of date, a total of about 10.5 lakh stranded Indians have returned through various modes under this mission. Phase 5 of the Vande Bharat mission is presently underway. Under this phase, from 1st to 12th August, 300 international flights and 70 domestic feeders have been operated, reaching 22 airports across India. Around 500 international flights are scheduled to be operated this month. Based on a continuous assessment of demand received from our missions and posts, flights have been added for repatriation from Armenia, Bangladesh, Japan, Israel, New Zealand, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Ukraine. In addition, the number of flights from GCC countries and Southeast Asia have been further augmented. In addition to the bilateral travel bubble arrangement with the US, Germany, and France, which are operational, the arrangement with UK is scheduled to start from 1st of September. Similar arrangements with others, including our neighboring countries, are expected soon. You would recall yesterday we announced a travel bubble arrangement with Maldives. After the unfortunate accident of IX-1344 from Dubai to Kozhikode on 7th of August, MEA had set up a 24/7 control room with helplines to provide information and assistance to the affected. This control room was operational until the 10th of August. On 8th August, the Ministry of Civil Aviation launched an online portal called Air Suvidha, which enables incoming passengers to apply online for exemption from institutional quarantine. This would apply to those passengers who are eligible for such exemption as per guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. This is by way of the announcements that I have. Now we can move to your questions. So over to you, Yatin.
So first set of questions are on Israel-UAE diplomatic ties. Akhilesh Suman from Rajya Sabha has asked, what is India's reaction on Israel-UAE deal and how will it impact on issues related to Palestine? Similar questions have been asked by Siddhant from WION, Narendranath from Navbharat Times, Ranjit Kumar from Rakshak News, Devi Rupa from The Wire, and Suhasini from Hindu asking for reaction.
Our statement lays down our position very clearly. and I'll reiterate the same in response. We reaffirm our traditional support to the Palestinian cause, and we hope to see early resumption of direct negotiations to find an acceptable two-state solution. And India's approach has always been guided by the objective of peace, development and stability in West Asia.
Next question is from Mr. Balagopal from Mathrubhumi News. There are reports in the media that the UAE government has distributed around 6,000 Holy Quran in Kerala during Ramadan. Has the UAE government taken the prior approval from the Government of India for distributing religious books in our country? If not, is there any protocol violation in this? Is there any inquiry going on in this matter? Another question from him. Any update from UAE on the Kerala gold smuggling case?
Well, Mr. Balgopal, to respond to your first question, I have no information as of now on this. And on the gold smuggling case, as I had said earlier, the matter is under investigation of NIA, and MEA is extending all necessary facilitation for the investigations. So I have no further update beyond this.
Pushkar from the New Indian Express has asked, will there be talks between PM Modi and his Nepalese counterpart Oli on August 15 over the border issues? Narendranath from Nav Bharat Times has asked, नेपाल मीडिया में खबर आई है कि 15 अगस्त को पीएम ओली और पीएम मोदी के बीच बात हो सकती है, क्या कोई सूचना है? Nainima from the print has asked, is there a telecon plan between PM Modi and Nepal PM Oli this week?
I have no information on this. I'll need to check.
Next set of question on Shri Kulbhushan Jadhav. Siddhant from Vion has asked, on Jadhav, India has been invited for 3rd September case and India has asked for documents. Any development from Pakistani side? Pushkar from the New Indian Express has asked, any update on the Kulbhushan Jadhav case? Srinjoy from Times Now has asked, what steps are being taken to ensure Kulbhushan Jadhav gets a fair trial? Madhurendra from News Nation has asked, कुलभूषण जाधव मामले में कोई अपडेट हो तो बताइए.
As I had mentioned in my earlier statement, Pakistan has consistently failed to address the core issues for implementation of the ICJ judgment in its letter and spirit. And these issues pertain to the provision of the relevant documents as well as providing unimpeded consular access to Shri Kulbhushan Jadhav. So that is our position on this.
Parul Chandra from Straight News Global has asked, Nepal's Foreign Minister Pradeep Gyawali recently said that the tripartite agreement of 1947, which allows Nepali Gorkhas to serve in the Indian and British armies, has become redundant and that it needs a review. Would appreciate the MEA's response to this.
Parul, we are aware of the remark, but I have no information of any official communication on this regard.
Kalol from The Hindu has asked, will the floods in UP and Bihar figure in upcoming oversight mechanism talks with Nepal? Suresh from Kantipur Express has asked, there are reports that India and Nepal are sitting this week for oversight mechanism. What are issues could be discussed? What is the current status of possible talks on border issue? Deepak Ranjan from PTI Bhasha has asked, क्या नेपाल के साथ भारत की कोई उच्च स्तरीय वार्ता प्रस्तावित है?
Look, on the scheduled oversight mechanism, I think you are referring to the meeting which is to take place on the 17th of August. Now, this is a mechanism which was set up in 2016 to review all our bilateral economic and developmental projects in Nepal. So, this meeting will review all such projects all over Nepal. Regarding the other part of the questions on the boundary issue, I think on our position on this India-Nepal boundary issue, I have clarified this on more than one occasion and I have nothing further to add to this.
Siddhant from Vion has asked, can we have India's reaction to Afghan peace process as the Afghan government has decided to release prisoners?
Siddhant, we have taken note of the development and as far as India is concerned, we strongly support peace and reconciliation process in Afghanistan. We also support the intra-Afghan negotiations.
Srinjoy from Times Now has asked, Pakistan got Gulbuddin Hekmatyar to speak at one of its missions in Afghanistan recently. He is remembered for human rights abuses in the past. How do you react to such provocation?
Look, Srinjoy, we have seen the media reports of participation of the former UN designated terrorist in an event organized by the government of Pakistan. This is nothing new. Pakistan not only harbors terror outfits but also encourages them. We hope that such participation in public events by a former UN designated terrorist would not go unnoticed.
Shailendra from News 18 has asked, former Prime Minister of Malaysia Dr. Mahathir attended an event hosted by the Pakistani High Commission in Kuala Lumpur on 8th August 2020 and said that now he would address Kashmir issue without restraint. Would MEA like to comment on this?
Well, you are aware of the outlook and position of Dr. Mahathir Mohamad on this issue. As a saying goes, you are known by the company you keep.
Suhasini from The Hindu has asked, has the government or Indian Embassy in Washington congratulated Kamala Harris on her nomination to the Democratic presidential